terms of our entire economy, and I want everybody to hear this, we should all understand that just three Wall Street firms, one, two, three, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, control $22 trillion in assets, which is roughly the equivalent of the entire gross domestic product of the United States of America. Three companies.
Let's be honest. When you look at who owns what in America, BlackRock and Vanguard are like the landlord who owns every building on your street, including the one you hang out in front of. According to public records, BlackRock owns stakes in thousands of companies. If you think you're independent, check again. Your streaming royalties probably pass through a BlackRock ETF on their way to your bank account. BlackRock, State Street and Vanguard, collectively managing over $20 trillion, are the largest shareholders in nearly every S&P 500 company, including Universal Music Group, Sony and Warner Music Group. As the Financial Times reported, BlackRock, Vanguard and State Street are the largest shareholders in almost 90% of S&P 500 companies. In 2012, a letter appeared online that sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community and beyond.
The letter is the secret meeting that changed rap music and destroyed a generation.
Damn. The letter, allegedly written by a former music industry insider, described a clandestine meeting in 1991 where music executives and private prison investors supposedly plotted to use hip-hop as a tool to fill prison beds. While dismissed by some as a conspiracy theory, many found the letter's details chillingly plausible, especially given the historical context of mass incarceration and the rise of gangster rap. The anonymous letter painted a picture of a secret alliance between music industry executives and private prison investors, allegedly plotting to use hip-hop's influence to drive up incarceration rates and, by extension, private prison profits. While many dismissed the letter as conspiracy, a closer look at the financial landscape reveals some striking parallels that are hard to ignore.
Okay, let's take rap music.
Let's take it.
Same people who own the labels own the prisons. So,
literally the same people?
Literally the same people who own the labels own private prisons.
Okay, last time. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
This musical shift coincided with a seismic change in American policy and incarceration. The Reagan administration's war on drugs, launched in the 1980s, dramatically increased policing and sentencing for drug offenses, disproportionately targeting Black and Latino communities. Mandatory minimums and 3 strikes laws fueled a prison boom, and by the early 1990s, the US saw an unprecedented surge in its incarcerated population. At the same time, the private prison industry was born. Companies like Corrections Corporation of America, now CoreCivic, and GEO Group began contracting with governments to run prisons for profit. Their business model depended on high incarceration rates, creating a perverse incentive to maintain and increase the flow of prisoners. They don't want to do nothing that's going to liberate you. They want to push music that has no substance. So the people listening won't have no substance. That's not just a bar, it's a business model. The same companies with investments in private prisons also have a say in what gets played on the radio. The more no-substance music gets pushed, the more likely the next generation is to end up in a system that pays dividends to the same shareholders. That's vertical integration on another level.
Who has the most power in the entertainment industry?
Wow. I mean, it's really hard to say who has the most power. It's some very powerful entities out here, you know. Maybe BlackRock has the most power in Hollywood. Who knows?
Is it all just coincidence? Maybe. But the facts are, the same era that saw the rise of gangster rap also saw the rise of private prisons. Despite public outcry and divestment campaigns, these financial giants continue to hold significant shares in private prison companies, citing the difficulty of excluding controversial industries from massive index funds. Beef sells. As 50 Cent told Rolling Stone in 2005, "If you don't have a little bit of controversy, people don't pay attention." When Drake and Meek Mill feuded, Billboard noted, the beef led to a spike in streaming numbers for both artists. A system where culture, policy and profit intersect to create real-world consequences, especially for marginalized communities. A financial structure that makes millions of ordinary Americans unwitting investors in the prison industrial complex. And yet, a lack of accountability or transparency about how these investment decisions shape society. Lyor Cohen, a legend in the music industry, is known for his work with Def Jam, Warner, and now as YouTube's global head of music. Lyor Cohen's 2018 Breakfast Club interview is infamous for its raw, unfiltered look at the music industry's priorities, especially his unapologetic stance on profit over message.
If they got a cup, I'm going to tell them they're a junkie and they're hooked on liquid heroin.
That's real.
Would it concern you enough to not work with someone? If they were, say they were in the middle of negotiating with you,
yes,
that
go
make
ahead.
You say, okay,
what,
I don't know that I can do this deal?
What?
If you felt like they had a drug problem.
No.
Cohen's chilling statements are revealing precisely because it exposes the moral bankruptcy at the heart of the business.
Now they seem like they're making it cool to be drinking lean syrup and
it's the most dangerous. It's the most dangerous thing that's facing our society.
Are you so why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent. But I have to. I can't give up on people.
But I'm saying that's hypocritical, though. You're saying
it's opportunistic. Yeah. I got people to feed.
Cohen's reply to whether he feels any responsibility for the impact this music has on listeners, especially young, impressionable fans, is straightforward and telling. He admits unequivocally that if an artist is profitable, he will sign them, regardless of the social consequences. Cohen's statements are not just personal admissions. They are a window into the industry's broader operating logic. They lay bare uncomfortable truths.
Yeah, very, very sad. I think the opiate problem, the syrup problem, is the biggest problem that I've ever seen and I've ever faced and been a part of, and I can't fuck with it. The crack thing was devastating, but at least the rappers were bringing a spotlight to you becoming a fiend.
Opportunism over ethics. The decision to sign artists is based not on message or positive impact, but on what's trending and what sells. If destructive content is profitable, it will be prioritized.
I wouldn't disagree with you there on BlackRock.
Vanguard.
State Street, those guys.
Maybe they have the most power in the entertainment.
Do you think more than like a Lucian Grange?
Yeah, he's just, he could be fired.
He could be fired.
Yeah.
Lyor, even these guys could be fired.
Yes.
BlackRock, Vanguard and State Street aren't just passive investors. With stakes in every major label and streaming platform, they profit from every click, every controversy, every organic or orchestrated viral moment. Why settle for a diss track when you can orchestrate a full-blown feud? Allegedly, corporate interests have every reason to fan the flames of rap beefs, knowing each viral moment means more streams, headlines and ad revenue. Every leaked sex tape, every accidental social media feud, every surprise arrest, allegedly nothing happens by accident. It's all part of a quarterly earnings strategy. As 50 Cent told Rolling Stone in 2005, if you don't have a little bit of controversy, people don't pay attention. When Drake and Meek Mill feuded, Billboard noted, The beef led to a spike in streaming numbers for both artists. Billboard, 2015. As Tekashi 69 said in 2018, "I know how to go viral." Sometimes a leaked track or a sudden arrest seems to align perfectly with an album rollout. Coincidence? Maybe. But Flavor Flav already told you. When a rapper's streams spike, real or fake, label revenues go up. When label revenues go up, stock prices rise. When stock prices rise, BlackRock, Vanguard and State Street's portfolios swell. Who's the real king of New York? Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock.
Okay. From here on, nothing goes down unless I'm involved. No blackjack, no dope deals, no nothing. A nickel bag gets sold in the park. I want in.
Vivendi, the French media conglomerate, controls Universal Music Group, home to Drake, Kendrick Lamar and Lil Wayne. In 2003, the New York Times reported Universal Music Group, a unit of Vivendi Universal, distributed Murder Inc. albums. When Murder Inc. was investigated for laundering drug money, Universal's then CEO Doug Morris said, "We have no involvement in any illegal activity." Forensic audits later claimed the launch was financed by Vivendi's Island Def Jam, not illicit cash. But the headlines had already done their job. Controversy sells records and records sell shares. In 2021, Vivendi spun off UMG in a $40 billion IPO, with BlackRock and other asset managers buying in. Reuters reported BlackRock is among the biggest institutional investors in Universal Music Group. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink said in 2022, "We focus on long-term value creation. If long-term value means more streaming, more headlines and more organic viral moments, then the rap game is a goldmine." Vivendi's CEO Arnaud de Prefontaine said, "We are delighted to welcome new shareholders. We don't just buy catalogues, we buy culture." Pam Chan, BlackRock's Chief Investment Officer. In 2022, BlackRock joined forces with Warner Music Group and Influence Media Partners to launch a $750 million fund aimed at acquiring music rights, especially from diverse and female artists. But let's not kid ourselves. Diversity is just Wall Street code for expanding our portfolio to include every possible revenue stream, especially the ones with the best social media engagement metrics. The first $300 million was spent on 20 catalogues, including those of Taney, producer for Bad Bunny and J Balvin, The Stereotypes, Bruno Mars, Jessie Reyez, Dua Lipa and Calvin Harris, and Skylar Stonestreet, Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber. This investment gives our clients access to an emerging asset class with potential for meaningful income and uncorrelated returns, while aligning with our priority to invest in diverse and female-owned businesses. Pam Chan, BlackRock. Remember when rap was about keeping it real? Now it's about keeping it profitable. Early MCs told stories of poverty, crime and survival, not because it was profitable, but because it was real. But as the genre's popularity exploded, so did the interest of major corporations. By 2005, hip-hop was generating over $1.5 billion annually, and the focus shifted from authenticity to mass-market appeal. The big asset managers and labels allegedly fund narratives to shape culture and maximize profits, pushing stories of sex, drugs and violence to maintain fake authenticity and drive controversy. Promote luxury brands and conspicuous consumption to keep advertisers happy. Quietly discourage political activism that might upset investors or sponsors. While the anonymous letter remains unverified, The broader alignment of incentives and outcomes is undeniable. The industry's shift toward gangster rap was simultaneous with the rise of for-profit prisons and the war on drugs. The music industry, by promoting and profiting from narratives of crime and self-destruction, has played a role in reinforcing stereotypes that fuel mass incarceration and social marginalization. At the same time, financial forces that shape criminal culture and exploitive economy also profit from mass incarceration. Whether by design or by coincidence, the impact is real and deserves scrutiny.
None of this sounds any good to me, Larry. And it's all self-inflicted, by the way. None of it needed to happen.
This is not a pandemic. This is not a financial crisis. This is something that we've created.